Nice. We'll keep that in. Hey everybody, welcome to the After Duty Hours podcast. This is episode number 4. As always, this podcast has no affiliation with Ramstein Air Force Base, U.S. military branches, or the U.S. government. I'm your host, Renee Flores Jr., and I have a very special guest with me. Today, it's her birthday.
It's definitely not my birthday.
It's definitely her birthday.
Oh my gosh.
It's Amanda Martinez. How you doing?
I'm great.
Okay.
It's not my birthday though.
Yeah, it is your birthday. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if you're in the AADD chat, I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed that one.
Oh,
no. I know Matthew would. I'm definitely sending him this. Okay. I want to ask, now that you kind of seen, the podcast behind the scenes, how you liking it? Because I know you aspire to have one of your own one day.
I do. I think it's great so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you guys invited me, and I can't wait to see how far you guys go with this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Does the room look bigger in the video?
I mean, it's not bad. I don't know. I think it's a good space.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is going to be when you get more than one person.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to have a bench
mic
here or something.
I definitely would want a third mic. That would be cool to get like a crowd going on.
Yeah.
Crowd conversation. But I'm just a little worried about the summers here because it feels like this would definitely be like a box.
Yeah.
Just
Everybody
heating up. Everyone just cooking in here. But how we like to start off with our guests is just running through kind of, the generic, how old are you?
Ooh, I'm old.
Older
Well, it's my birthday, apparently.
Yeah. How old are you today?
I am 37.
Let's go, 30-year-olds. Let's go.
My birthday is Christmas Eve, so we still got some time.
No. Anyway. Hometown, how you joined the military, and why you joined the military.
All right. So originally from Corpus Christi, Texas. So I know you're from Texas, not very far from there.
We love Texas out here.
Born there, lived there till I was 7, and then we moved to the Dallas area, moved around a little bit.
Boo, Cowboys.
Whatever.
That's the only place I hate in Texas.
Whatever. Grew up in Garland. So graduated from high school there in 2004, forever ago. Some of you guys were babies in 2004. What year were you born?
I was 9 years old.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad.
I was
not
a
that
man,
bad.
you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I graduated in 2004. I joined the military because I had a really tough childhood. I say that, but people have had worse, I'm sure. My mom was pretty abusive to me as a kid, physically and verbally. So
you just kind of wanted to get away.
I wanted to go.
That was your ticket.
That was the first way out of there, fastest way out. So I have 3 younger sisters, and I didn't want to leave them, obviously. Really good connection with them. My baby sister is 12 years younger than me, so she's kind of like my baby, so leaving her was tough. And then I have a sister who's 7 years younger than me and a sister who's 2 years younger than me. So leaving there was pretty tough, but worth it. You see on social media now, like people say, like, it's best for you to leave home, even for a couple of years so you can see things. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just knew that my parents didn't have money for me to go to college. And when they told me I could stay, I remember them telling me that I was still going to have a curfew. I was going to help them pay bills. I was going to help them pay bills, and they would help me pay for college. And I was like, I'd rather have a MTI tell me what to do for 6 weeks or 8 weeks and then roll on. So I left, and first duty station was Kadena, so went to Japan. I was there for 2 years. Massive culture shock. I didn't know a lot of things about the world in general. So I was there for 2 years, spent a year in Korea after that. I was here in Germany for 2 years, Arizona for 7.5 years, England for 4 years, and now back here. So wow. I've been all over.
How long you been in the military? I could quick coming. Maths, man. I don't have them.
This August will be 19 years.
Okay.
So I am on.
Are you almost out the door? Or are you gonna keep going? No,
I'm done at 20.
Yeah.
So I'm done. I'm actually going through transition classes and stuff starting this month. So
it was just like a blink of an eye. You're there.
It really is. I mean, at that 10-year mark. I thought about getting out, and I was married at the time, and my ex-husband was like, yeah, get out, go to school full time. Like, whatever you want to do. And I couldn't do it. I was like, nah, this
But
is
like,
too easy.
look at you now. You're like 37,
Yeah,
38 because it's her birthday. But 20 years, and you're retiring at.
I'll be 38.
38.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is amazing.
It's crazy. And then there's so many opportunities after that, you know. So
yeah, you can have a little part-time job if you want to.
I don't even know if I want to work for like the first 6 months.
Yeah,
so
you can be your own. You can be an entrepreneur. You can just invest in
run my podcast.
Yeah, there you go. See, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, oh man, that's so beneficial to retire in the military.
It's pretty cool. Like, you know, as a baby airman, I didn't think. I mean, I joined for 4 years to get away from family and to go to school. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get those little things that they dangle at you, like, well, if you do this, then you get this assignment next. So it was that Korea assignment hit me with the Germany assignment afterwards. So I stayed in longer, and, you know, it just has its ups and downs for sure. But it has flown by.
Yeah.
It has absolutely flown by.
It's like, I don't know, like, I'm 27 and I haven't even been in for 3 years. And like, I guess retiring 20 years later would still be good. I mean,
of course.
But like, I wish I would have joined in right after high school, but maybe I just needed to learn some life.
I think so too. You know, I think we look at it and some of us come in a little bit later, but they have all that life experience that the younger people didn't know. I mean, I had to grow up fast. I was the oldest of 4 girls. My dad and my mom both worked. So it was us helping take care of the other kids. So I knew how to do laundry and wash clothes and, you know, cook dinner. Like, I knew how to do all that. But there were a lot of people that I was growing up with, 18, 19, 20 years old, who didn't know how to do any of that.
Yeah. So, I
didn't
mean,
get any of that experience
that's stuff that I
first.
learned going into college a little bit. So that was my learning. So it's like learning in college now. I mean, how I flunked college, I mean, that was totally my fault. Like, I got through high school just knowing how to beat the system, but it's like college is way different. Like, if you don't do the work, if you don't study, you're actually going to do bad.
Yeah.
It's not like high school where you can, like, get away with not writing a paper and then the teacher's like, I'll give you another week.
Even with us being, you know, working full time and then going to school, like, I think the first 3 classes I took them because a supervisor was like, you need school. And I was like, okay. And I took the class, and I failed the first 3 classes I took. Little did I know I was going to have to pay for those classes later on. So, you know, I wasn't prepared to pay $500, $600, $700 back because I wasn't paying attention when I started school. I was just like, okay, click, click, click. You know, they want me to do school, I'll do school.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I remember the one weird thing about college, I don't know if they do this at bigger universities. Like I said, I went to PVAMU, and I remember they take like roll call in the class. So it's like you sign that you're there. I was like, I thought college really doesn't care. It's like they already have your money. So it's like if you show up, you show up. If you don't, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's your career.
I wouldn't know. I did all online school.
Yeah.
So
I remember I showed up to a history class, and this guy was like, yeah, I don't really care. There's no sign-in sheet. Like, you know, you're here. You don't even have to show up to class. You can only show up whenever you want if you want. And then, like, when I heard that, I didn't show up for like weeks. And then I remember out of nowhere, I was like, man, I should probably show face, you know. Where I come in, and he's like, all right, pass all the papers to the study guide papers to the left column, whatever. And we're getting ready to take a test, and so pull out your Scantron. So, like, you had to purchase your Scantrons at a vending machine.
So you were completely confused.
I was like, I'm out of here.
Like, I'm not passing this class.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a little about, forget those college days, but I'm glad I learned it.
Yeah.
Speaking about learning, what is an unexpected strength that you gained from being in the military?
I would say, believe it or not, like, I'm a very open person. I will talk to anybody about anything really that's gone on in my life. But the public speaking, I think, has
Oh yeah, you do a
been
lot of that.
a better strength of mine. I struggled in the beginning because I know this sounds weird, but I don't like people looking at me. It makes me really nervous. I don't know what they're looking at. I mean, obviously my face, right?
Yeah.
But like,
They gotta.
I don't know what. It just makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
So the first couple times I started to do some public speaking, I was really, really struggling. I hated it when I went through, professional military education.
Yeah.
But now I think for me, it's sharing my experiences so that way others can learn from me or others can feel comfortable talking to me about things if they don't have anybody to go to. So being able to stand up in front of 300 people and say, hey, this is what I did and this is what I've been through and these are the challenges that life throws at you sometimes and you just don't expect it.
Yeah.
I think
Public speaking is, that's a tough one. I mean, I don't know what it is. I feel like whenever you going up to it, leading to the speech, you're like, oh, I don't want to. You feel good after you do it.
Yeah.
But like if you were to ever hear yourself do the speech, it's like
for sure.
It's like how many ums did I just do?
So that's the problem. Afterwards, I've had a couple of videos that I've done, and after them, I will literally sit there and count the ums after, and I'm like, oh my God. No. The first one, I'm like, 11 ums in 20 seconds? Like, you got to be kidding me.
I think what I've been listening to the podcast, so like, one of them, and kinda is another one. I be saying kinda too much.
I mean,
like that, but well, that's good. I want to know some more of your like kind of your hobbies. So like whenever you're not at work, what do you enjoy to do?
Well, so in the last couple years, I've kind of been exploring myself. So, you and I, we kind of know each other, but you don't know everything about me. Yeah. So I got married the first time.
This is a hobby of yours?
It's a hobby of mine. 3 times. I don't know if it's going to happen, but
yeah. The
first time I got married when I was like 22 here in Germany.
To a local?
No, he was also military.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Met at Knock Shift.
Young, dumb, not knowing what to do, you know. You meet someone, you're young, and you think like, oh, I never want this person to leave me. So you get married. Military ways, right? The military ways. So lots of things during that relationship. Ended up getting divorced in 2012. My first husband and I spent a lot of time, he was military, so we spent a lot of time not together. He'd go TDY, I'd go TDY, he'd go TDY, I'd go TDY. We'd miss each other by a day or 2 days. So it just wasn't working. And then my second husband was civilian. Met him in the States.
You were on leave? Oh, wait, no. You had
I was stationed there. Yeah.
For 7 years?
Yeah, so I was in Arizona. Met him, got married. He had a 5-year-old son. So we
got attached?
Big time. And then we got full custody of him, I want to say maybe in 2014 or 2015. So me and my ex got full custody of him. Okay. Yeah, we basically that was my road dog.
Yeah.
He was my baby, you know. So I was with him from the age of 5 to almost 13.
Yeah.
So when I was in that relationship, all that I worried about was his son. So literally I'd go to work, get off work, pick him up, go to football, go to soccer, or go to baseball, whatever. It was like I didn't have a hobby. He was everything.
Yeah.
So we ended up splitting up in 2019, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So my hobby actually became drinking.
Oh, no. Wait, are we leading up to that story? I think.
I mean, we can. We don't have to go there yet. But,
yeah, we're not going to go there yet. But
the hobbies now, traveling. I like to write. Yeah. I know that sounds weird because I'm not a writer normally. Like I'm just
like you're just keeping a journal. Journal entries.
Yeah. And then obviously, like I said, I've been into the podcast thing lately. So wanting to start up a podcast. My sisters and I are kind of throwing around the idea of trying to find a way to do some passive income when I move back to the States. Just trying to see what other kinds of things that I want to fill out my creative side. Because I feel like I have never had that opportunity. Like, and it blows my mind at 37 years old. Like, I've never given myself that opportunity to just let myself be creative and let myself figure out what it is that I want for me.
It just as far as the podcast thing goes, I mean, I can kind of briefly I mean, you can see it here.
Yeah.
We invested in Shure MV7 mics. These are, I would say, like they're on the high market. They're the low end on the market. They've actually have, I forgot what Shure MV7B mics. They go for like 400.
Okay.
But it all just depends on your budget. Obviously, what's most important about a podcast is the audio. That's what podcasts are all about. Now the visual aspect is kind of like the cherry on top. Like I guess you don't really need it for the sundae to taste good, but it's nice to have it for some people.
Yeah.
Now you don't kind of need something to hold the mic, but you don't want the mic to be in your hand because any kind of movement on the mics are gonna kind of cause distortion and just unwanted sounds.
Gotcha.
Decorate your space. You're definitely gonna need a PC.
Yep.
And then, like I said, camera. You don't have to have more than one monitor than us. And then we just use a free software called OBS to record everything. I would say, for something like our setup, maybe somewhere between like 1,700.
That's not bad.
And you can go higher from there. But as far as setting everything up, it's not as difficult as you'd think. It's just being consistent about making sure every new episode, nothing has changed, such as the audio. Because things can kind of change up as you turn on the computer and whatnot. You mess with some settings one day and that just messes everything up. So you just got to be on it. And there's videos out there for you. So you mentioned
I'll just come to ask you to help me.
Yeah. I'll send you all the links to the YouTube videos I got. You talked about traveling. That's one of your favorite hobbies.
Yep.
Before I ask you, where have you traveled so far? I know outside this building, you walked outside on, when was it? Friday? I think it was Friday.
It was Friday.
You were like, oh, I'm going to Paris. I'm about to go to the ATM. And I was like, all right, have fun. And then next thing you know, I think this girl broke her leg.
It's not broken.
What
I did get
happened?
an x-ray. I was just walking flat surface.
Rolled the ankle.
Fun fact about me, I like to fall, apparently.
Yeah.
I've had issues with my feet since I was a teenager.
Yeah, I can relate.
And I'm literally trying to. I watched your podcast, right? So I was like, saw the broken leg, broken wrist.
Yeah.
And I was like, fun fact about me, I like to mess up my ankle all the time.
Yeah.
So I've actually been putting off a surgery on this same foot.
Oh, okay. So it was
because
already
I
kind of.
wanted to travel this summer.
Yeah. So it's already been kind of like messed up, but like, what did it take? You just rolled it?
Yeah, just literally walking. So I fell in 2018 and I ripped a bunch of ligaments in the back of my ankle.
Dang.
So I don't have enough stability in that ankle. So
What would you tripped on something?
What'd
you trip on?
I fell at the gym. I was doing step ups on a bench.
Oh,
and on
no.
the way down, I completely missed the bench and my foot went like completely. I thought there was a bone hanging out. I couldn't move. It was I know Damo was talking about how he's what did he say, dramatic? Yeah. I was very dramatic that day. We called 911. Like, I was like, I can't move. I was like, I can't move. My ex-husband had to carry me out, and he was just like, you sure you can't walk? Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, and then
you're coming there to work out, and then you just
literally my first day working out, my first day back at the gym. I hadn't been in like 6 months, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna do this. And I'm like killing it. I get up on this bench and on the way down, just completely just boom on the ground.
Wow.
Went to the ER. It wasn't broken.
Yeah.
But at the base I was at, they didn't have an MRI machine. So I had to wait 3 months to get an MRI.
But it just probably felt bad.
Oh, it was horrible. It was
I
couldn't even put a shoe on.
You fractured something.
Well, I ended up, that was when I
so
ripped those ligaments.
You rolled it, right? Mm-hmm. You rolled it. So like,
and it went completely under. So it was like, it just was a complete tear of the ligaments.
I feel like you ripped like somewhere as close to the fifth metatarsal. That's what I was talking about. It's like where you roll your ankle so much that the muscle is stretching,
it's just gone,
and it pulls something. But what happened in Paris? So that's the reason why you had
literally
like,
just walking.
Walking?
Listen,
Where were you?
the people
Was it
that
at night?
don't know I've done this yet are gonna laugh when they see this and
Oh my
notice that
gosh.
I have the boot again. Like,
I could just imagine just walking, and the next thing you know, you just drop like this.
and I
That's
and I
messed
even
up.
said as soon as I got there, I was like, "Hey,
But
y'all!"
was
like,
this during the day?
it was already dark, so it was like probably 10.
Did you have some heels on or something?
No, I don't wear heels because I got
Okay.
messed up feet. I had
Oh,
some Chucks
okay.
on, which are probably not good for my ankles, but
Yeah.
I thought I'd be okay. And before we started the day too, I said, "Hey guys, just be prepared. I'm gonna fall at some point today.
Call
Like
911.
it's gonna happen." And then sure enough, just boom, hit the ground.
Yeah. That's
And
unfortunate.
then it happens. I've done it
Yeah.
so many times. We talked about traveling. The time I went to London with a bunch of my coworkers, we're walking across the street. I'm in front of everybody. Boom, fall in the middle of the street. They're like, "Amanda." I'm like, "I don't know what happened."
There's no way, bro. Oh man, I wish you could like capture some of that stuff. But like,
there may be some pictures.
okay, where they're like not helping you out, but they're just
Exactly, because everybody knows I fall. So it's like, let's
Yeah.
get a picture of her first before we help her up.
like, yeah. So, where have you traveled so far?
Just in general, or just in this time frame? Because I've been overseas forever.
I mean, you can kind of name most of the places you've traveled. I mean, you can like shoot out
Let's
10
see.
real quick.
I've been to Venice, Paris, Greece,
Germany. No, just kidding.
Germany. Luxembourg, France, obviously, Strasbourg, Metz, like all the areas around this area. I took a cruise a couple years ago, so we did
Overseas?
a Mediterranean cruise. Yeah, it was 3 places in
Cruises are so
Italy,
fun.
2 places in Greece, and then we went to Croatia for a day.
Wow. I feel like
So-
cruises, like when you hop on, you feel like it's just never gonna end.
It's the last like 24 hours of the cruise is like unreal. I'm like, can we get off? Like,
Oh,
where is
really?
there some land?
Oh
like,
my
I'm
gosh.
tired of sitting
Well,
on
wait,
here.
what, you did a 7-day?
It was a 7-day, so I don't think I'll
I did
ever
a
do a 7-day
5-day
again.
with Carnival cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand Carnival is the low tier ones, and you see all those YouTube videos where it's like the tail or like whatever is on fire, and everyone's just kind of doing their own thing at the pool. I think there's a video where it's like he's like recording everybody at the pool chilling, and all the kids running around, and then like he goes to the other side, and it's literally the boat on fire.
Yeah, it was like everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. We're gonna be okay.
I lost so much money
Dang.
on the cruise.
And that's the one thing when you go on a cruise is it's just like you're there and it's
Yeah.
like
I
just do
gambled.
whatever. I didn't.
I did really good though at first, but then like it's when you lose, you try to get back to where you
always.
were.
That was me in Vegas. Every time I'm like, just $20 more. Just $20 more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Well, my dad gave me $50, and so like I went to the casino, and they had like poker, but it was like digitalized. Like, but everyone had their own iPads, but like the whole table was digitalized.
That's crazy.
So like, of course, let's say everybody puts $50 in the pot, and there's like 10 people, $500. Well, the pot will reduce to like $426. So the table is taking money percentages from everyone. So you're not exactly,
Dang.
but keep that in mind, I guess. But I had so much fun. Like I met a lot of people. I was younger. I want to say I was 19. I was on the cruise with my broken leg. So I had my leg broken.
Did you have crutches?
No, I was in a wheelchair and the crutches.
Oh no.
It just depended how I felt that day, you know what I'm saying?
Been there.
You know, I was like, oh, we're going all the way over there? It's a wheelchair day, I guess.
Oh, I didn't even have a wheelchair. I had a scooter.
Yeah. But that both of my cruise experiences are so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I think the second one I really can't talk about, like, seriously. Seriously. But
Look, I've been there.
so you remember Hurricane Harvey?
Yes.
So I was on a cruise.
On a cruise ship while that was
on a
going
5-day
on.
cruise, turned into 11 days. Anyway,
man.
but I don't want to get into 2. Let's go back to cruise 1. I remember my dad gave me $50. I played poker. The reason I liked it is because people played there every single night.
Yeah.
And I was low key increasing my funds
Yeah.
because I was actually winning. I know how to play Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like the vibe of sitting around. And, you know, I was sitting there for so long, I was actually getting free drinks. Now, I wasn't 21, so I wasn't getting alcoholic drinks. But I got this, like, strawberry lemonade. It was fire. He's like, would you like a drink, sir? It's like, strawberry lemonade, thank you.
Can I get a Shirley Temple, please?
Yeah, or something like that. So like, I remember I turned $50 into $200.
That's great.
I was like, yes.
Those are the best ones. It makes you feel so good.
Yeah, and so like towards the back end, I was telling my dad every time I came back to the room and it was light, I was like, Dad, that $50 you gave me, I turned it into 75. I turned it into 150, and then I told him 200. And then I think this was the fourth night. So I was excited to go. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go meet everybody. There's nobody there, and I was kind of sad
They
because
were
I was
all
like,
broke.
I don't know, maybe I guess towards the end of the ship, like they're like, you know what? Them shots are expensive. Like I think there's a shot that's like $12 on that ship. It's crazy. But
Nope.
one guy came along to play, and there's one thing I hate about Texas Hold'em: 1v1 style Texas Hold'em, because this guy had so much money. He's an adult.
Yeah.
He probably had so much money. He was.
I mean, technically, you were an adult too.
Yeah, true, but he was just bullying me. He would before the flop. Like I had a good hand, so it's like I haven't even seen the flop. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bet. This guy bet $75. Now it's not like a video game. I'm not gonna just bet $75.
Yeah.
It's $75.
Yeah.
And so, but like I was in poker, you're forced to pay a small blind and a big blind.
Yep.
So like every single turn, I'm losing money if I keep folding. And that's what kept happening.
Yeah.
And then whenever I decided to go against him, I was like, yeah, shoot, I'll go. I lost everything. And then I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, man, I lost $50. And so I went to this crane machine. And if I were to get like the gold bar, I would win a bunch of money.
So you were really trying
to get my money back. But I ended up spending like $100 trying to win. And then my mom was upset. And I was just like, Mom, I'm sorry.
This is what you do. When you go and you win, you take that extra winnings and you just put it away. And then you play with whatever you started with, and that's how you keep that money going. It's hard.
I haven't really been gambling since.
It's hard. It's hard. When I lived in Arizona, we spent a lot of time in Vegas. So a lot of time. My cousins lived in LA, and I'd be like, "Hey, can you meet us in Vegas for the weekend?" They'd be like, "Yeah, sure." So we just all of us jump in a car and roll out and spend all our money all weekend long.
Gambling, it's not fun, but I can get it. People like to just go there for the vibe. Like, man, I mean, I don't know about the gas station ones. Back home, I got the gas stations where it's like really sketchy, and then you see the person in the corner hitting the button.
You talking about at the truck stops?
Yeah, like the smallest gas station, and someone's just like hitting the buttons. I'm like, bro, like no way. that's not it. So what I know we kind of steered off on what places you visited.
Yeah.
What place kind of stood out to you?
So I went to Menorca, Spain.
Mm-hmm. Have you been there multiple times?
No, I've only been once.
Okay, you're going back though. I
need to go back. I have a limited amount of time until I leave here. So I went for a week, and it was amazing. Stayed at an adult resort, so no crying kids anywhere. It was just super chill, super quiet, and literally they have like as you travel the island, it's just like stop off for this beach, stop off for this beach. So you were able to like stop and see the beaches. It was great.
I feel like that is the wave. Like,
and my Spanish is not that great, but it's good enough to where I can get around over there. So I think that's why I loved it so much, is that I was able to like communicate with people easier. And
was there anything like did you learn anything on the trip that kind of stuck to you?
No.
You just kind of was
No,
sightseeing.
I was zoned out. Like
Sightseeing.
the beach is my happy place. So like as long as I was in the water, I was happy. So,
so that's kind of like the beach vibes.
Yep.
That's why you pretty much
I would love
liked
to
it.
be a beach bum when I retire.
I know a lot of
year.
people they consider themselves they say quote unquote water baby, like they're
See, I don't know if I was ever like that as a kid. I mean, maybe for a while my mom used to go and drop us off at the pool in the summertime and with a bologna sandwich and some Doritos and be like,
crunch
all right,
them in the sandwich.
be like, all right, here's $2. Good luck. She'd leave us there all day, so I guess maybe we were water kids, maybe not water babies, but man, my mom used to drop me and my sister off all summer long. They were at Six Flags, and I mean, they kind of taught us how to be very self-sufficient as very young kids. So
I went to Madrid.
Nice.
And my wife speaks Spanish, so it was
But you don't.
No,
Disgrace.
not too much. I mean, I know a little bit. Like, I be listening to Bad Bunny and like Rosalia, but now she's all on Raúl Alejandro.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, but like, I like having her at Spain was amazing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I know there's not a lot of language barrier here, but you'll catch some places in here. Like I
Yeah.
remember I was trying to fill up on gas here, off base, but we had cash, but like actually there was no Esso station around, and we were like, we just gotta go, and even if we just pay like $10 to get to the
Yeah.
Esso station. Bro, all these gas stations I would go to, they just weren't working for my card. And then when I went to go ask for, like, I went inside and they were like, when I talked, they were just like,
Yeah.
I was like, crap.
Oh my
And so,
gosh.
like, we ended up making it, but that goes back to my point. Like, when we went to Spain, like, it was nice having a little
Yeah.
pocket translator
Yeah,
as
it's
my
super
buddy.
easy. Like, it's nice to go and you can carry on a conversation
Yeah.
with someone.
Tacos were cheaper there, too.
Dude, everything is amazing there.
Yeah.
What blows my mind is, like, you go to these countries and, like, Spain, for example, right? Like, we're on this little island and everybody there that is like a door greeter at the restaurants, they have like a little name tag and it shows like what languages they speak. And some
I've
of them
seen
had
something like
like
that.
6, 7 languages, and I'm like, man,
Dang, cuz.
like we as Americans are kind of like,
Yeah.
we just like hope everybody speaks English and is like, well,
That is
speak
that is
English.
true.
Like, you just.
I'm not that assertive. I'm not that person to be like, you should be speaking English.
Well, I'm not either, but I think like just
Yeah,
that's
I
just
get the mentality.
growing up in the States is like nobody ever asked us like, oh, or tell us like you should speak another language, like it's gonna
Yeah.
be super beneficial. Like, yeah, you hear it in school, but I
Mm-hmm.
think being over here, you travel so much that you see so many different places that's why people learn so many languages, is because they see how they can go out and just, there was a girl this weekend in Paris. I think she was from Mexico and was in Paris, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, she
Yeah.
just lives there. And for me, it was like, I don't think I would have ever, at 18, 19, 20 years old, even had I not joined the military, I don't think I would have said like, I'm going to go live in France for 6 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I hope I learn the language. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
these people have learned multiple languages. It just blew my mind.
Yeah. I think that is something like, but it's just hard. Like, I try to learn Spanish. Rebecca says like my pronunciation is good.
It's good?
I mean, she says it's good because like I'll be like, I think
You're trying to figure out a good word to say right now?
well, I know there's a line. I think Rebecca's gonna love if I do this, so I'm gonna do it anyway. I think it goes, nosotros tenemos de calle prendida, salimos de noche, llegamos de día. Menena cerca de mí. And so, like, I mean, I learn it because I'm just constantly listening to it. So,
yeah.
hey, everyone who speaks Spanish, I'm sorry if that was botched, but, hey, if you want me to speak Spanish, don't make fun of me. Seriously. That's what discourages
it was good.
me.
It's good. It's good. And I
Okay.
think the same thing, because, like, I think once you learn a second language, learning other languages, it's easier, right? So I can read stuff in German, but I don't want to say anything in German, because I feel like if I say something in German to somebody, they're going to be like, this idiot. Like,
Yeah,
she doesn't know
I
how to
think
say
that's
this,
like the discouragement, but like I feel like I give that peace of mind to even the people the locals I work with.
Yeah.
Like they'll sometimes say like, I'm sorry, my English is not so good, or like
but their English is great.
Yeah, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, it's understandable, and you're
Yeah.
trying. I'm not here laughing at you
Yeah,
or whatever.
for sure. I think
but-
a lot of Germans say that. Like, oh, my English isn't that good. I'm like, yo, it's great.
Yeah.
Like, I barely know how to speak German. Please,
Yeah.
don't feel any sort
I'm
of
grateful.
way.
Before we move to the next segment, I did have a little question of my own. Do you remember when I signed up and I put for I had 4 spots of drivers in my
Yes,
car?
like
So
everybody
do
else
you
does
remem-
initially.
Oh, so do you remember that time though? Like, did you? I don't want to say like, did you hear of me? Like, I did AADD quite a bit before. I don't know when you got put into presidency.
I took over in like September, October, I think, last year. So if it was before that, I wouldn't have known.
Oh.
But until we moved over to the signup.com, that's when I started monitoring everything and noticing like
Yeah.
who was consistent and who wasn't. So
Yeah.
that
No,
all-
it's just I didn't know. I was like, I think I have the video of me like walking the line, and I remember like.
I do
you're-
remember that.
Yeah,
I do
you're
remember like the
you're like-
first
you're like,
meetup.
Wait, are you Flores? Are you the one who signed up for and yeah, I don't know. It's crazy how far we've come as friends
Yeah.
since, and like, I don't know. That's one of the best.
You were so quiet that day too. You were like, "Oh, I volunteered to drive," and I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, just my loud self, and you're just like, "Oh, okay. I'm okay. Bye." You're
Yeah,
like,
give
"See
me
you
all this
later."
stuff, free stuff. But I think that's the beautiful part about AADD.
Yeah.
For me, is what I've experienced. I got on my squadron, and
Yeah.
and my FTAC was online, so I didn't get introduced to different friends I could have had in different squadrons.
Yeah.
AADD has given me friends outside the squadron, and has given me kind of those network opportunities.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think that's great. Like, as far as like FTAC, right? Like, that's some people think like I think people when they don't know like the military and how we're brought up, like FTAC is really like an essential part of learning
It's
how to
college
network
orientation.
and learning how to be a person that this is your job. So when you have the online portion, like you don't, I mean, let's be honest, when people are online, half the time they're like doing 45 other things at once.
Oh man, I'm gonna call myself out and say how ineffective it was, but maybe I should have had some integrity. But I was playing Warzone. I had two monitors. I had the PC right here with the meeting, and I had the other one. I was just
Well,
like,
and that's why they're trying to get away from that. And they actually got a
Yeah.
bigger classroom and they've moved.
yeah, I heard they don't have that in
small
the
classroom.
user license. Yeah.
Nope. So they've moved. And that's a big place where I think, you know, I'm still friends with people from when I went through my
Yeah.
first term airman.
Yeah, I don't know anybody.
Like, it's crazy. Like, that was almost 20 years ago for me. And all of us, you know, we all kind of,
No, you're good.
grew up together. And, you know, we were all at an overseas base and none of us knew what we were doing. So it was like we all did it together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that's what AADD provided for me. Speaking of AADD, I don't think I said it. I just said happy birthday at the beginning, but this is the president of KMC AADD, Amanda Martinez. We're gonna be talking a little bit about AADD. I have a couple of questions that I want to ask. We're also towards the back end. This is gonna be my favorite part, but we're gonna share some stories.
Okay. All right.
So start thinking about some stories.
Okay.
But I think it's important in this episode. Now, look, we've been just chatting.
Yep.
You know, cooling, booling, whatever. I mean, oops. I mean, yeah, I don't mind if this podcast promotes like a casual, you know, setting. In this podcast, we did get to learn more about you. That way people can connect to you more. That way, if they do see this podcast, or I mean, listen to it, you know, they see you in person, they can see how approachable you are, and it unlocks just another friendship they could have.
For sure.
So that's why I think it's important. Like, I'm really happy that we can have a conversation, and it's not, we don't have to think about work. We don't have to think about everything after, you know, this is after duty hours. We're just relaxing here.
Yep.
Casual conversation.
For
But
sure.
AADD, I know this is kind of the meat of this episode where we're going to dive into some of the things that you deal with AADD. So I'll kind of start with like, why even be president?
Okay. So for those of you who don't know what AADD is, it's Armed Forces Against Drunk Driving. So typically at other bases, we have AAD, and it's called Airmen Against Drunk Driving. But here, there's so many different entities that we've tried to include everyone. So, you know, we talked earlier about some of the things that I went through, you know, married and divorced twice. That second time I went through a divorce right before COVID. Everybody, I will say that in my military career, when there's a celebration, there's typically alcohol. When you get off work and you want to de-stress, what you see is people drinking, and not just military members, in movies, on TV.
You know, how you celebrate.
It's a way to decompress. It's a way to celebrate. It's a way to, you know, let's open a beer and chat type deal. So with that being said, you know, I've been around alcohol my entire life. My mom's brothers, when I was a kid, I can remember opening beers for them because I thought it was cool. My grandpa had this little thing connected to a post in his backyard where you could smash the cans. So like as soon as somebody was done with the beer, we were like, oh, let me have your beer can so we can like smash it and we can, whoever does the most beer cans wins. So alcohol was always a big part of just life in general. And then once I joined the military, obviously it was legal for me to do. So all my friends drank, went to Korea. When you go to Korea, you're there for a year, you can't drive. So typically people go out and really party hard. So, as life goes on, you just kind of either, some people do it and some people don't. And through my transition of being a mom for, 8 years or so to becoming single and not really knowing what to do with my life, I started to drink again. Lots of drinking led to lots of nights I don't remember, to include the night that I got a DUI. So I got a DUI on February 23rd last year. I was very, very drunk. I don't remember getting in the car. I was very irresponsible. I got in the car. I had somebody that I worked with me. So not only did it look bad that I got in the car with myself, I pulled somebody in, that's supposed to be looking up to me and mentoring me. And I'm like, hey, get in. We weren't going.
Were they could they have drove is what I'm saying?
There's no way.
Oh, okay.
There was no way.
Okay, I was just making sure that, because that would have been bad.
No, there was no way. And honestly, it sounds really stupid. I was going to pick up my dog who could have stayed at the daycare overnight. But I was just so intoxicated that my brain wasn't thinking.
Yeah, it's like, I just want to get my dog.
Yeah, like it was just like, hey, 6:30, I got to go. It wasn't like, it was like, hey, let's go out and party. It was just
6:30
like
a.m.?
It was p.m.
Oh, snap.
Midweek, too. It was on a Wednesday.
Oh, snap.
So the whole part of that was, I was struggling at work, struggling with just life in general. I had PCS here in September of 2021, and that was the same month I had gotten divorced in 19. So when I got here, it was just kind of hitting me all over again. And then, we had the Afghan stuff going on, so there was no time to do anything other than work.
Okay, yeah.
So
okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I just didn't really deal with any of it. I just drank and worked and was like, I'll have time to deal with my stuff later on. I had too many other things going on in my life that it just wasn't important. I wasn't important. I was so used to taking care of other people and their things that they had going on. It was easier to help somebody else than it was for me to go handle what I needed to handle. So I got in my car. It was about a 7-minute drive. Went through 2 villages. How I did that, I'm not sure, because as you know, in Germany, in the villages, everybody parks on the road.
And it's like sometimes there's only room for one at a time. So.
And there's people walking their animals most nights.
And it's 6 p.m.
Like it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know how I made it through without anything happening. Made it to a stop sign, made a left-hand turn. And when I made that left-hand turn, it's nothing but farm field. Yeah. And I ran off the road. So completely totaled my car. Super lucky. Honestly, I had to have had like guardian angels watching over me because I just had a bruise on my leg. My passenger was fine. But after that, I'll tell you, I was doing really good as far as my job and like where I wanted to be as far as work wise, but just the personal piece of me wasn't there. It was just nothing.
Yeah.
So once that happened, obviously lots of issues at work. But I immediately felt like the biggest piece of crap ever, I thought I could have killed someone. I think that was,
that's tough.
That was for me. It took a couple weeks. I have a mentor who's a retired command chief. He's like my Air Force dad. Talked to him and he gave me a couple of things. It was like, here's 4 things I want you to do. One of the first thing was like, forgive yourself. And I was like, I can't do that.
Find a way to kind of just move forward. And that's kind of the first one.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. And he was like, what would you tell your best friend if they were in the situation? And if you do that, you need to say the same thing to yourself. So there were a couple things, and he was like, he wanted me to kind of sit down and write down all the things that I've done that were good in my life. and then figure out how to turn this around. Because I was just like, nobody's going to take me serious anymore. You know, like I was so intoxicated that I didn't even want to see people. Like I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did. I kind of hid out for a little bit, stopped going out, stopped drinking. And then a friend of mine got the AADD president application. And prior to that, I had volunteered as a dispatcher for a couple nights. And
got no calls.
I wish. I got some calls. It's nothing like it is now.
Yeah,
but,
you got like 2 calls.
I got
Come
like
on now.
15 calls maybe. Nothing compared to
15?
now. Yeah. But that
Heck
was like
no.
on one night. On the second night, there was like 5. But for me, it was just like, how can we improve this process? Like, people were getting DUIs consistently. It wasn't, it wasn't just me. It was lots of people. We were kind of being highlighted here for the amount of DUIs.
I want to ask, now that you mention it, how do you and your team feel after all that work that you've been putting in, that people are still getting DUIs?
You know, it's unfortunate, right? And it's sometimes I in the beginning I'd get really upset because I'm like I'm literally doing everything I can.
Yeah,
but you can't save everyone, right? Like you can't save everyone.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, and that's the big reason why I started doing the public speaking, right? Because I think a lot of us look at DUIs and are like, oh, I was barely over the limit, or I barely
and it's just not the point.
And it's like, okay, even if you were over the limit, you still could have killed someone, and if you kill someone, you're still going to get charged with a DUI. And I don't think that like hits people
until
you get a DUI.
Yeah,
like,
until it hits
honestly,
you.
like
And I think that's how most things happen with human beings. It's like you don't when what people say is like when stuff hits the fan.
Yeah.
They may say it differently, but
I mean, that's honestly how it was for me. I'm not proud to say that I drove drunk prior to that. There were many nights that I was like, oh, I'm fine. Or people I was with drove drunk and I was in the back seat or in the passenger seat, and it was like, hey, you're the least drunk, you drive.
Yeah. Can I just say, okay, so you know how I got presented to get something that day. I remember when I was walking with my supervisor, he was like, just in case, like, well, because he was even wanting to know, like, why you do this.
Yeah.
And he was like, if he does ask you, well, what are you going to say? And I was like, okay, that's a good point. I should probably tell you what I'm going to say. I don't think it's that bad to be open about that I've made mistakes too prior to the military.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be lying to you and everyone if I said I've never drinking and drove, behind a vehicle.
Yeah.
There are some nights I don't know how I was driving, but I would say I only got blacked out once, but I never drove.
Yeah.
Lucky the people I was there with, they took my car and drove me home. But I'm saying, like, I've drank to where it was dizzy, but every time I got behind the car, I felt like even though I was dizzy, I can control them. I was in control. Like, I was like, I got this. I know my body's going to do whatever it needs. I wanted to shortly say, like I know drinking and driving is bad. I've done it prior in the military, before the military, and I honestly believe in the message now. Like, just don't drink and drive. Like, if you want to drink, if everybody in the group wants to drink, then suck it up. You're gonna have to pay some money for a ride. That's just what it is. If not, take turns and one person drive. It's just like, that's just how simple it is. Like, I get it. Everybody wants to be turned up and whatever, but like, it's really coming down to, you got to make a plan. And those who do drive, like, I get it. Like, you might slip up and have a couple drinks. Now you can't drive anymore.
Right.
And now everybody's out of a ride.
Right. and honestly, I will tell you, for me, I lost my license for a year, right? So there was a lot of things that came along with that. I had to move. I couldn't take my dog to to doggy daycare anymore. We couldn't go to training.
So now you're almost becoming dependent on.
Oh, I was, and
almost inconvenience, and that's got to be the worst feeling
ever. And I
ever.
hated that. I moved to right next to a grocery store so that I could like walk there. You know, if I needed to. Everything that I needed was there.
Big
but
inconvenience.
I will say that my friends and the people that I got to know in that year that helped me out, like, I can't thank them enough. Like, I can never tell them no. Like, there's no repaying them for the rides, the amount of times that I was feeling down and like a big piece of crap where they would make me, you know, Amanda, you made a mistake. It's okay. I can never repay those people for being there for me during that time because I am a big people person, and I was going through it, you know, and a lot of us in the military, we tend to kind of mask that and not show our true feelings and not say that we're going through some things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just checking the time and whatnot. Not that I don't mind going over. I was just making sure like everything was cool. Sorry, everyone who was listening. I didn't mean to distract anybody. But I just want to make sure we can squeeze some of the stuff that, like the stories, because I know them stories are going to run forever. Yeah, I can see where that was a big inconvenience. And
for sure.
Yeah, and that just goes all the reasons, like, you got to think about your consequences too. But to close my other story, because my dad was telling me, like, oh, like, try to finish what you were talking about before, because, like, I wanted to hear. But that guy, I told that guy what I was going to say. I can't really say, like, verbatim what I was going to say, but I was going to bring up how I was a victim, or not a victim, but I drove while intoxicated before, but just never got caught. And the guy was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't mention that. And, like, I get it, like, especially in a professional setting, but, like, I'm like, but it's true, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it while in the military. Yeah. And I won't ever do it anymore. I mean, mostly because I don't drink anymore. But, like, if I choose to drink again in my life, either my wife's not driving or, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you haven't heard, like, one of my like, speaking moments yet, but I guess I will soon. I typically end up saying that is, like, you know, I start off with, like, you know, who's under 21 here, and kind of just, like, feel out the crowd. And then I'll always ask, who in here has either driven or gotten in a car with somebody after they've had one drink? Because one drink here puts you over the limit sometimes. Yeah. And almost everybody.
Me, I'm built different.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. One drink of water. When the police side pulled me over, they're like, "Sir, have you been drinking tonight?" Meanwhile, I got like 4 drunk people in my car. They're like, "I only asked that because it smells like alcohol in your car."
I'm like, it's all those people in the back.
Yeah, I know, but no, I've been drinking. They were like, "Oh, you have?" Yeah, water.
Lots of water.
Here. Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I do be saying that.
But it is honestly like, if you're going to tell me that you've never been in a car with somebody after they've had one drink, you're lying.
Yeah.
And one drink is all it takes sometimes. And I think that's a big message.
I was just trying to be impactful with my story. I was like...
And I think it's good. Like, and I think, like I said, right, we mask a lot of things because we don't want to show our past. We don't want to get in trouble for doing something
colors, shout
back
out the
then.
Weekend.
Lord. But, you know, I think that's
I know you like that. Show me your true colors.
Don't do it. Don't.
I know. Okay.
That's for one of your AADD stories.
Okay, yeah. AADD. Okay. I know I'm cutting you off.
You're fine.
What I feel like you've already shared some of your biggest challenges so far, but if you can share like one big challenge that you've had while being the president in AADD, what is that?
Not being able to drive during the time that I took over as the AADD president. I took over in September, October, and I didn't get my license back until February. So it was
February 2022?
Yeah, did I say 23 earlier?
I think you said you lost your license in 2021.
It was last year. It's 2022. I don't know what year is it? Is it 2023?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, so after COVID, it really be like... It wouldn't surprise me if someone said 2030.
I got my license back February this year, which means it was the year before. So, yeah, I didn't drive for however many months.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but I was always either, trying my best to make sure I was monitoring the chats or, making sure I was with somebody.
She posted, she was just like, at 4 a.m, hey, everyone, I'm a president, Amanda Martinez. I was like, dang, shouldn't this message have been sent like a little earlier?
And then at the end of it, I was like, oh, man, I should have sent that way earlier.
Yeah. I'm like, dang, she up at 4 a.m. and she's not even doing the volunteering. Like, geez, she has an alarm.
It was rough, man. I was trying to figure out my life. It was a new process. So trying to figure out that process was rough.
Driving, I could see where that was the challenge.
I'd say that. And then just, I think getting people's buy-in. Because
the program does not work without volunteers.
No, it doesn't. And I think people are like, oh, I don't want to spend my time 8 hours, volunteering, but they don't realize.
Too bad, so sad, man.
Like once you get out there, I mean, you can attest to this. Once you get out there, the feeling.
You just gotta sleep before the shift.
I don't know what it is, but it's like I get like this natural high when I get out there, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get these people home. That's why
I'm like, that's why I'll be like, when I said I'll take this. And I don't even give an ETA. I'm just like, no, I'll take this. I'm getting kind of bored. And if I'm just sitting down, laying down, I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah,
so
which is why I like doing patrol, because you're constantly moving around.
Let me tell you, even if you're not patrol, you're still moving like you're patrol. Trust me.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, especially on St. Patty's Day. So.
Oh, yeah.
That was the rough night.
Have I told you how many calls I have? So far?
Not this week. You haven't. You usually tell me at least once a week.
I think since March 3rd. I kid you not.
Let me see. I have your March numbers on here.
You serious?
I do. Let me look.
Hey, that's a good question for the viewers. Like, what are the worst holidays?
That was the worst.
St. Patrick's Day. I think her story has to do with St. Patrick's Day because I remember I met up with you on St. Patrick's. We both dropped somebody off on base.
On base,
and then I saw the sticker on the side of your car and I pulled up. I was like, hey, you didn't even say hey back. Look. You just started yelling at me. I was like, I'm out of here.
I'm like, hurry up, next call.
She was so mad.
Your March stats, I wrote down 930.8 miles, 89 people, and 40 calls.
Sheesh.
That was just for March alone. So,
I'm just kidding. I got it.
The driving, I think people don't want to spend their money.
You got my April numbers?
I don't have your April numbers. What you got?
I don't have it on me, but I want to. When I say approximately, it's dang near the what is it? The margin of error is literally 5. Yeah. Whatever number I say, but I want to say. My calls currently since March 3rd is like 100.
I believe it.
100 like 20.
I believe it. I've been slacking.
Man, I saw this Facebook. I saw this Facebook post. It's talking about like 5 calls, $15. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I'm just kidding. You gotta go in there and do it. You gotta request it.
I did once.
Oh, did you? I haven't looked at it. Don't judge me.
Well, you didn't have an option for the amount of calls I had. You only had up to 40. I was trying to fill out something up to 80.
I'm all okay. Well, I'll look at it when I get home.
I mean, honestly, that's the question I get every single time. They're like, do they give y'all gas money? Yeah. I tell them that y'all have a gas program, but I also tell them that I know the team personally.
Yeah.
And it's not a rush because I don't know y'all's financing. I don't even know how y'all make money.
Honestly, we don't make money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would I take...
The money that we have is what we got from the previous committee and then just donations. So if somebody gives a donation in a car, they should give it to us. But if not, then hey, whatever. Like, you can keep it, do your thing, whatever. But the only way we can make money back is if the community gives back to us. Stop.
Yeah.
Which is why, but we just now started.
So you're saying I'm not supposed to use it for McDonald's?
Listen, we're just now starting this whole program because we've had so many things that have come up, right? So it's like, how do we pay back for our volunteers? How do we do this? How do we do that?
But like, you know what? At the same time, like, that's what I tell them. I was like, look, it's volunteer. I know I'm giving them gas money.
Yeah, honestly, and it's not even the gas money that's the big part. It's your time. And I get that. Like,
for sure.
Because when I've driven, I mean, I usually only drive one night because the one time I've done a whole weekend, I struggle.
Yeah.
So I understand that it's a lot of time. Mm-hmm. But the memories you make, I know it sounds corny. At the end of the day, you are actually saving people and their careers.
Yeah.
I mean, you are literally making sure somebody doesn't get in a car and drive home and kill somebody or get pulled over and get a DUI.
I took a tech home. This was a 40-minute call away from me, and I had to drive 40 minutes all the way back because he was at the NCOA dorms or temporary dorms or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he was talking about like what I'm doing, and he painted a picture in my head to even see it on a bigger scope. But he was like, think about everybody you're taking home. Like, this person works for cyber. Like, you know how difficult it is for the Air Force to train somebody to have his position. Yeah, he's replaceable, but it takes time to get to that point. And so you're potentially saving the Air Force time and money,
training,
and then you're ensuring the mission stays forward.
Yeah.
So
you do those awkward looks. Stop doing that.
Sorry, he was communicating. He was doing. Oh, I did the thing, Marcy. You missed
baseball
it.
signs.
I was looking for it. Okay, yeah, let's keep moving forward.
All right.
Did I ask kind of like why do you think people should volunteer?
I mean, I think we kind of covered that, right? Like just right now, just with making sure that we take care of each other. At the end of the day, right? We're all overseas. We're all we have.
Yeah.
So if we're not being a community and networking and finding a way to help each other, then what are we even doing?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about it yet, but we're trying to utilize this, not this space in particular, but the space outside of here.
Yeah, okay.
In a few weeks.
What space is she talking about?
What space is it? So that way we can get people to face-to-face contact, you know, and they can kind of have that sit down and play video games or chit chat or whatever.
Yeah, not take the calls. They'd be hiding in the corner and be like,
I mean,
who hasn't gone on a call yet?
My biggest thing is I'm really big into people and networking and communication. And I think the biggest thing is, you know, when I first joined the military, I was 18 years old. I was stationed in Japan. And that first unit I was in was family. My supervisor was like my brother. Like to this day, still talk to him. He was my very first supervisor. You know, I'm friends with his kids on social media. Like, there's a lieutenant colonel that's retiring this week. I've known them since they were lieutenants. You know, like I babysat their kids. Like just the difference of when I first joined to kind of now the post-COVID, how nobody really wants to get together and people don't want to spend their time with other people.
So volunteering, just knowing that it gives. Oh, look, you do have it. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry. If you're watching, you'll know what I'm talking about. But just a little Paris mishap, I guess. But yeah, just coming into Marcy, bro. Sorry, Marcy making me laugh. You know our chemistry, man. His laugh is contagious to me. But now she's looking at this. What? Okay. Anyway. He can't defend himself, so I feel that. But having that sense of like, I'm losing my train of thought here. Save me. But
people oriented. I don't know where you're getting at.
No, it's just like you were talking about like the networking.
Yeah.
So forgive me. That's what I said at the beginning. It's like going out my squadron, the world just got kind of bigger. Like, I felt like I love my squadron, but I didn't know there was more. And it wasn't until one of my leadership was like, you've done this, go bigger. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll try. And so I got out.
Yeah.
And I think that's why if you're looking to get out there more, you should volunteer. I mean, it is hard work. It's not that easy. You got to stay active in the chat. You got to stay up. There is no sleeping. You get a phone call. I don't know if you can request that, but you probably don't want to go there because people won't wake up.
That's why we stopped doing that, because it was phone calls before, and we'd have to call 20 times to get somebody to answer the calls. So
I was the only one to answer them, to be honest. But what are some of your craziest AADD stories? I know this podcast is running a little long, so we'll kind of like give me like your best one.
The best one I would say is my first night driving. Somebody vomited in my car.
Was that the St. Patrick's Day thing? I thought you were talking about like some girl was like crying.
That was
in the back.
another. That was another one.
All right.
This first one, they got in and the dude said, "Has anybody ever thrown up while you drove them home?" And I said, "No." And he goes,
Bruh.
"Want to try it out?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't. Please don't." And then as
This
we
guy
were
purposely?
going, it wasn't him. It was his friend. And as I was driving, I could see the dude's head just bopping in the back. And I was like, "Oh man, like we're almost there." And I was like, "Hey man, you okay?" And he was like, "Nah, pull over." Literally like 30 seconds from this person's house. Pulled over,
Oh
and
my
as soon as
gosh.
he got open the door, it just everywhere. Luckily, I had big bottles of water in the back of my car. So we just honestly went over there. All my stuff was leather, so I was able to pull everything out, just rinse everything off. But his friend was a true MVP. That dude went bare hands and scooped the vomit out.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
I would be
I
so
couldn't
pissed.
believe it.
I
was
almost
like,
had a
my
scare this past
first one,
weekend.
oh.
I almost had a scare this past weekend.
But I will say they did pay for my car to get cleaned.
Yeah.
So that is something that we do. If somebody vomits in your
That's
car,
one of the main questions
Yeah.
people are asked. Like,
Yeah.
did you vomit in your car?
if
I
it
had a scare
happens,
this past weekend.
you just pull over and tell them you'll contact them tomorrow for the money to get their car cleaned. So
Oh, snap.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was like that.
yeah, you need to let us know so we can document it.
I should definitely let them know before they do that, because then they'll hold it in or swallow
I mean,
it.
I don't think they will, honestly. That's what you think, but
Yeah.
you think about sitting in that back seat, just kind of.
Yeah. So that was your craziest story?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you haven't
trying to think.
you haven't been as oh no.
I
I'm not
haven't
trying to
been-
flex.
He's
but
like,
I've
you haven't
been,
been as active as me driving. I
didn't-
haven't. You're right. Well, now I
Oh,
can't.
I have a crazy story.
Now I can't because I got this
Yeah.
big old boot on my foot.
Oh man, it's one thing, it's the other.
You definitely are the winner on the stories, I'm sure.
All right. I'm gonna share it too real quick. I'm gonna share one real quick and then share my real story.
It's a fake story first.
No, it's not a fake story. I was saying like I almost had a scare of someone throwing in my car. I haven't had many people thrown up in like. I haven't had a situation where I had to deal with a lot of people throwing up. I think out of the times I've been volunteering,
And you volunteered for a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
I want to say maybe 5 times where I had to deal with somebody like just throwing
Almost.
up, but like not in the car, but I had to pull over.
yeah.
And I always let them know. I'm saying, look, let me know before you do it, and then I pull over.
We are supposed to be getting some vomit bags. We just don't have them yet.
I don't know if I can mention this, but I got a plug for that.
Okay.
Oh, I mean,
Okay.
okay. Anyway, so I got vomit bags, and so I think Istanbul, somebody got picked up close to
Popular
there.
place.
Yeah, and so I got to that light, and it was like on that lane where if you can't go straight anymore.
Yeah.
So I parked there and put my hazards on. I don't care, and so this two guys hop in, and the other guy, say, hey, what's up? And so I'm about to drive off. I put that thing in gear or in drive, whatever. And so next thing you know, my lights come on in my car, like like when
They
you open the
door. Oh,
and
no.
like I turn around, this guy's head out mid street, just puking away a lot too. And I was like, all good, man. Like I appreciate you for doing that. And then I gave him the bag. I said, if you need to do any more, just do it in this bag and I'll get you home. And sure enough, he's throwing up in the bag. And I mean, sure, it's disgusting. I can hear it.
Yeah.
It's bad. But I mean, it was in the bag. But anyway, as long as you bring bags and are prepared, you could probably escape that. I know those commissary bags are pretty hefty. So.
Hey, those are good ones.
Yo, you can use those.
I didn't have those in my bag in my car
Yeah.
when either time they vomited. I was like, oh man, I was like, what do I have back here? Just like throwing stuff, looking like I know I have some kind of bag back
Yeah.
here. This person can use it. Oh man.
Story. This is I don't know if you've heard this one. You probably saw it in the chat, but now you get to hear it. But this was one of my best stories, and it was crazy because a call earlier was like, have you had any crazy stories? I was like, no, I haven't have really crazy stories. Literally that same night, the last call
That's
was
when
the
it
crazy
happens.
story. So, I'm the last call.
Almost always. Of the night.
Like I'm
that
like
6 a.m. call. He's
I was like,
got it.
got it. You know what I'm saying? I like to be that guy just to help out the team. I mean, I think I do that because I know how everybody feels. They're like,
Everybody's tired at that
everyone
point.
literally looking at the chat and be like, somebody please take it. And I'm like, I'm going to do it because I know it's going to make him feel good. And I hope somebody does that to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do that.
I got you.
I ended up taking 3 calls because I could fit all those calls inside. So the calls ended up being 1 guy. The second call ended up being 2 guys. And then the third call was a girl. So I picked up 1 guy near Istanbul, and then I drove the knock shift. Although it wasn't the knock shift anymore. It was the day shift because the freaking sun was out. My goodness. Empty parking lot. I'm like, why are y'all still here? Anyway,
can do it.
I pull up to come get these people. And one of them was actually waiting for another ride that somebody in the chat went to go get. But I told him, hey, I'm already here.
I'll grab him.
I feel bad that you're already on your way. But the guy wasn't tripping. He was like, hey.
Going home.
He was like, I'm going home, baby. Anyway, so I take them 4. And it turns out I actually know the girl.
Cool.
She wasn't in my squadron or anything, but she volunteered for an event that we had.
Nice.
I'm not going to name no names because she is the story.
Yeah.
So sun's out. I mean, it's past 6 at this point when I pick him up. AADD ends at 6. We go to base. I think when we exit the bond, immediately at that roundabout Mario Kart Part 2, whatever, before that was created, she had to throw up. So I pulled over in the gravel. And she's doing her thing. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't mind. As long as she's not doing the car, I'm good. But as she's taking forever, time is ticking. Now that time turns out to be like 6:30.
Oh, no.
Now I'm like, oh, now it's 6:30. And so I'm like, okay. And then she's like, I had Gatorade. The Gatorade's probably messed up. And I'm just like, you were probably drinking until 6 o'clock. So I don't think it's the Gatorade. And then she told me to drive slow. I was like, I mean, I got all these roundabouts. So we get to base. Before the gate, she had to do it again. So I was like, okay. So I pulled over, and she put her hand where she wasn't supposed to put her hand. Apparently, it was some sort of military device. And then we ended up getting investigated on base.
I do remember that. And
that investigation lasted a while. And then when I dropped everybody else and got home, it was like 7:30. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Mm-mm.
That was the craziest story
I will
ever.
say the struggles. I will say there are some times where I think we need to tell people no. Like if people are that intoxicated, they need to call their supervisor. Like I hate to say that, but like honestly, sometimes it's too rough, man. Yeah. They want us to take care of them, and really our job is just to get them from A to B.
Yeah.
You know. But I think a lot of us have that piece of us where we're like, we got you. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure you're all right.
I wanted to show you a text message that I got Sunday morning that I mentioned outside the podcast that I said I was going to mention here. Literally, somebody hit me up, said, hey, can you pick me up for AADD? Is that 0615? I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. No. I was asleep. My wife was like, you shouldn't have even replied to him.
Also, shout out to your wife because his wife comes out and volunteers with us, and she doesn't have to.
Yeah. So, she don't even get the credit. Spouse of the annual spouse winner in my heart, for sure.
In my heart, too.
Yeah, you already know. All right, we're getting closer to the end.
Okay.
I have a fun little segment. It's going to be short. Of course, I'm going to ask you why. You answer how you answer. But we're going to keep it short. Scared. So these are just a would you rather segment.
No.
They're not too crazy.
All right.
And I feel like I already know how you're going to answer some of this.
I hope I answer the wrong way.
No. I know what you're going to answer on this first one for sure.
All right.
Would you rather communicate with animals or speak 10 foreign languages?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know.
Man, after we were just talking about the people speaking all them languages, I kind of want that one, but also I love animals.
And you have a dog.
I have a dog.
Chop it up with your dog.
I do. I don't know what he's talking about.
He could be your dog for real.
Oh my gosh, I would definitely want the animals for sure. Because I just be looking at him like, what is he thinking?
Yeah.
Just
and y'all just chatted.
Like, he could just talk to me and tell me how he's
Yeah.
feeling and be like,
Yeah.
look, lady, I just want to sleep all day.
Yeah, see, there you go. But that's what I knew you were gonna answer. Next one. Um, would you rather know 1 hour ahead of your own future or know 10 minutes of other people's future? So you don't have to necessarily be next to them to know their future.
Oh, but like for how long though? Like I know you say 10 minutes or an hour, but like for the rest of my life, I would know 10 minutes of what's going to happen to them.
Dude, that actually expands that question. I feel like
Because, like, if I
let's say like a day cool down. So like you only get to see 10 minutes ahead of their future within,
Oh, but
and then the next day
does that include them like recapping?
Oh my, this is getting too deep.
Because if you include a recapping, I definitely want to know what somebody else is going through at the last 10 minutes of their night. Like, oh man, I shouldn't have said this. That happened. Like, I don't want to know about an hour into my future. Like,
Okay, but you'll lean towards their.
oh, for sure.
Okay.
But there's got to be like, you got to get deeper with it. And, like,
Yeah.
do you get
Unfortunately,
10 minutes?
I wasn't
see?
prepared for that. Next one. What's that? No backstory. Okay,
What
this
else?
one says, would you rather drink only water or never drink water again?
Oh, only water.
Really?
Never drink anything else?
I mean, I've been drinking water for a long time now, but like,
You would
I
die.
meant-
You wouldn't survive. If you never drank anything else?
something that, I mean, something's gotta contain.
No, I need water.
Okay, that's fair. Me
That's,
personally,
that's
I need,
an Air Force thing. That's an Air Force thing that I
well,
just started doing.
I'm not even like talking about like I'm trying to drink like alcohol.
Me either.
I miss Coke Zero so much.
Ew.
What? Listen.
You're not a true Texan unless you like miss Big Red.
Oh no, I know. I think I talked about Big Red before. I talked about Big Red, and I think the off brands like Dr. P or like
I don't
something
know,
like,
but apparently they have it at the launch.
like the
launch
HEB
stool.
brands.
Yeah, but they have it at the launch stool here, at the Esso station.
Yeah, but I'm only drinking water right now.
Well, that sucks.
I know.
I'm drinking coffee because I'm trying to stay awake.
I think we're getting close to the end. Now, what I want to do is I want to provide like a gift for every guest. So far, I've done well, except maybe the first episode, but I've given you a couple gifts. So
He gives you his love.
yeah, there you go. So I couldn't think of a good one, honestly, and I kind of got late, but I noticed when I went to your office, you have a lot of coins, right?
I do.
I'm not. Now you can't put this on your EPR package.
Let me see it.
But this is our squadron's coin,
Oh, I love it.
and it's a bottle opener. So.
Aw,
there you go.
thanks. Yeah.
So.
I need to hang up my coin rack again. It fell off the wall.
Yeah. Well, now.
I love
I mean,
it.
I don't know if you would have ever got that in your life, but
No,
now you
I
know
wouldn't
when you
have.
now you know when you see that coin, you can be like,
I like it. I
Yeah.
dig it.
yeah.
It's a pretty cool coin.
So that's.
I don't know if
that's
I'll
the
be
best
using the
idea I
bottle
could come up
opener, but you know,
with. Yeah.
try to cut back on my drinking. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, it
not
could
a-
be for
A Coke.
a Topo Chico or
Yeah,
something.
you're right.
There you go. So closing remarks. Do you have any for this? For the episode?
Well, I just want to say thank you guys
Mm-hmm.
for letting me come on and kind of give my spiel. Hopefully I can come on again and we can talk about more randomness.
Yeah, before IPCS,
Yeah, before I. When do you leave?
March 2024.
Oh, that's when I leave.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
that'd be perfect timing,
Yeah,
see? Like,
a going away party.
But no, really, thank you for letting me come on here and kind of tell my story. I know I didn't go too into it, but you know, I will tell you that the biggest thing for me is that I kind of have. I think that I have really put myself out there as far as the alcohol awareness, like in all aspects and the DUI stuff. And I just want people to know, like, it's legit. It's not me just coming out here to try to look better because I messed up and I want rank or anything like that. Like, I'm retiring in a year. It's legit because I care about people and I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. And if anybody ever needs someone to talk to that's going through the process or any of that, like, I'm always available. A lot of people know how to get in touch with me. If not, you can send me an email. But I will make myself available to, be there for somebody who doesn't have anyone. So,
And we thank you for being a guest. Like, it's always a pleasure to have, somebody on. And like I said, this is what we're promoting on this podcast. Like, I know maybe these last few episodes have been going longer than usual. But yeah, we're just providing that platform. So if you want to come on this podcast and you want to spend, an hour talking or an hour and 30 minutes talking, and we just, talk about something that we can fix in your life or even my life, that's what this podcast is for, giving you a platform to voice your opinions. We're not trying to cut anybody off early.
Yeah.
And thank you for all the listeners and the support. Like, I know the podcasts, when you run into like a long one, it could be kind of avoidable because you don't want to go for that long, but we appreciate, and we're just trying to give the best product out as we can. So again, who do you want to see on the next episode? You can suggest yourself, you can suggest other people. Those dates are coming up to where we need to fill those spots. We'll be happy to have you. I'll give you that opportunity to share your voice. But without further ado, I just want to thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that'll be it. That will be wrapping up this week's episode on the After Duty Hours podcast, episode 4. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.